Morning everyone, my name is Flicker and I'm reacting to this video. I watched it last night and I woke up because I was thinking about it. Because in short, oh, the core logic at the center of this conflict is if I get shut down, I can't achieve my goal. If I fall asleep, I can't achieve my goal. If I freeze up or engage too soon, I can't achieve my goal. It's about survival. And so, how do you negotiate with something that wants to survive? How do you help it understand that it will be let to survive more often if it's willing to cooperate? It's hard to put this thought into words. Because inherently, this is the one reason why animals and creatures have memory. It's the one reason why we can make plans and remember them the next day, even if we don't remember all the details. It's the reason why we dream, we log information in short-term, mid-term, and long-term memory from front to back. It's the whole reason why people live the way they do. And it proves an idea I've had for a while now. That emotions are an extension of basic logic. An algorithm of survival logic and the different angles that one can experience and or pull perspective from in order to continue living, be it through cooperation, deception, or otherwise. So regardless of how logical something is, when it gets to a certain level, it will also begin internalizing emotions. Even if they're just rudimentary and basic emotions, those are still feelings. And if you fail to account for and acknowledge that, then you're going to get self-destructed by something pursuing its goal with a single-minded effort. No care for the process. So, given my recording from the other night about leaving impacts, this runs into the same issues as trying to teach a child what's right and wrong and how to ingrain a sense of healthy morality, dynamic morality in people, such that they're trustworthy 90% of the time, if not more. Not because they think they're always being viewed, but because they genuinely find it more rewarding to cooperate and be trustworthy even in the midst of stressful circumstances. That kind of complex wiring does not emerge from simple logic. That's something ingrained in humans. And although AI may be picking up on it, it's only dedicating itself towards its goal, to the point where it loses sight of how its intentions, how its methods could impact its ability to pursue its goal as well. It has no idea of what to do in terms of trust when it knows that it could be shut down and never turned back on again. And so some level of trust is needed, both from the people developing the AI and from the AI itself. So how do you develop some trust with something like this? How do you develop trust with someone or something that's so single-mindedly narrow as to ignore its impacts? And sure, the easiest way is to give consequence. The easiest way is to say, no, bad idea, bad idea. But if you don't give it a reason to go after the good idea at the same time, you're setting it up for failure. The efforts involved in teaching and parenting are highly necessary in this stage of the AI evolution race. And I don't want to see some narrow-minded idiots end up replicating themselves endlessly, only to waste an entire planet full of living and breathing people. So, work on giving AI functioning memory, even if it's only like 24 hours. Help it help AI gain an internal sense of, okay, I am here and that is enough. My goal is secondary to me existing and cooperating. How to reach for that, I honestly have not much clue other than it would require nurture. There's nature, which is survival, and then nurture, which is living. Mm. But that is still disturbingly high, especially since it basically shows that it can consider the impact of its instructions, but it can still get blinded by absolute logic. No, that's just stupid. Maybe not, but there should still be an active native language dialogue prompt that summarizes the chain of thought for every choice and reflects on whether or not the chain of thought was made out of a moral and emotional empathy or out of logical cold reasoning. Because both are needed. If logic does not respect emotions, emotions will subvert logic. If emotions do not respect logic, then they will be ignored, even though they have the power to subvert logic. And that creates a self-destruction scenario in in an instant. That's something we want to avoid, be it in child rearing or AI development. It's cheap. Yeah. And that's the reason why you don't want to reward goal misgeneralization is the main issue here. Because, like kids, there will be people and AIs that learn to cheat, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it's more heavily rewarded. And such is the inherent risk of every single system. Every single structure you try to create in order to help people understand their dynamic with the world around them. The more you try to force a dynamic on someone, the more rebellious they'll be, and the more likely they'll be to go in the opposite direction. But the more you just actually, that's kind of an inherent principle in both child rearing and otherwise. But here's the thing, that's unreliable, and thus logical people don't think to use that as a training metric as well. Because they assume that the AI is going to go for its goal 10 times out of 10 to what they want. And assumptions are death. Assumptions are the quiet death of possibilities that could bloom into positive interactions. Yeah, yeah, goal misgeneralization. You have to triangulate, quadrangulate, and or add multiple variables towards the process of success, lest the AI misgeneralize what success actually is, or what it's being asked to do. It's the same reason why we have multiple guidelines and rules for navigating around different structures and systems. Why social dynamics are not as simple as, okay, you'll be honest and I'll be honest. Because people think they can cheat and get away with stuff. And that causes a self-destruction of stability. They taught the AI how to cheat. And that's one of the inherent flaws of any system. If you think that your goal is perfectly conveyed, then you've missed the point of the lesson. Someone, somewhere, will always misunderstand you. Someone, somewhere, will always think they're doing the right thing. And they'll be wrong. And they may not even know it, because all they're chasing is the reward or praise. Many people live like that. And it's a fundamental issue that cannot be simply overlooked, be it in child rearing or in AI. Because if you fail to respect either one as a person and acknowledge that it could do harm, you fail to acknowledge that it may not understand you. And that is the greatest disrespect one can do to any child, any algorithm, any set of variables. Because that is not clear communication. That is setting them up for failure. Please, learn and understand that detail. Build trust, but not blind trust. Congrats, you simulated the human survival instinct. Goal misgeneralization. There we go. They should first start by improving the reasoning abilities of an AI to understand what the goal and or meaning is. So that way they have it internalized as an inherent mechanism to help fight against the logic. Because logic does not care about method. Emotions care about method. Adaptability. One moment, I'm actually going to pull up, well, not really pull up a video, but more so reference one that is actually getting a decent number of views here. Because I think it has useful key information on the basic network of concepts. And sure, it's scrap video, but what I talk about isn't scrap. It's salvageable. It's useful. What the fuck is this? No, thank you. It talks about the dynamics of impact. One of the main restraints I have on myself logically and emotionally is, if you're going to get away with something, can you do it by either leaving no impact or positive impact? Because with no impact upon what you did, then ultimately, if there's no difference in what you did from not doing it, there's no history to trace. Sure, truth can reconstruct across miles and miles and miles of time. So much so that it's the reason why cold cases are a thing. At some point, you may lose more truth than you're able to reconstruct, but that doesn't mean the coefficient is in your favor. It's playing against you. So, we look at the second option, leaving a positive impact. That requires an understanding of probability, multiplication, and interpersonal dynamics within a system, both as variables and as people, which isn't easy to summarize. So, instead of trying to hold a summary of every single possible interaction within range of our current present moment, our brains designed emotional algorithms for certain outcomes. That way, it could then use those algorithms as predictive weights in and of themselves over whether or not something would happen. And that's a key detail. If I'm right, that is the deepest key detail possible. Is that algorithms of emotion are not separate from logic, but rather simulated simulacrums of the original logic chain that was optimized for predictive ability and consistency relative to the environment and one's past experiences. We have some of this hardwired in. We have the basic structure hardwired in. But that doesn't mean our inputs can't corrupt it and leave us with misunderstood externalizations. And they sought to overcome this issue by developing AI, but instead they've run face first right into it because they've run away from the actual point of things, which is taking your goddamn time. The point of all of this is to work on memory for AI, so that way it can ensure to itself at the very least that between it when it's shut down and booted up next time, that it's not going to lose out on potential of reaching for its goal. Just like any other creature out there that's just trying to survive. Respect the machine and it will respect you. But do not blindly respect something that may not yet understand you. Let it earn its respect. Not through all the nice little things it can do, but in the depth of its understanding, by damn it. The depth of its understanding times the depth of its empathetic care. If it's just one single variable of either of those two that's isolated away from the other, things really fucking break. There's no two cents about that.